All right, we'll get started here. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we're going to have David Pedrick from Ecotrope go over some of the new features that we've added to Ecotrope recently. There's a handful here. Some will produce productivity, some will help make life easier. All of them new or exciting. And so we thought we'd share them with you, give you an option to kind of explore them, and there'll be opportunities for questions you can leave in the chat or in the questions panel as we go through. We'll try to look at questions at the end, and anything we don't answer, we'll try to reach out via email. And as always, you can contact any of us via email as well. So again, today, David Pedrick will be going over some of these features, and David comes to us formerly as a QAD, so he definitely has experience with many of the things he will be creating features to try and help solve problems for. Currently, he is the product manager at Ecotrope, responsible for creating a lot of these items and overseeing them. So if any questions come up, he is definitely the guy. So without further ado, I will hand it over to David to kind of go through some of these features and get us on our way. David?
Great. Hey, thanks, Jacob. I just want to double check that you can hear me as we switch hosts here.
I definitely can.
All right, then we're good to go. Good to see everybody here as we talk about 3 new features. We scheduled this for, I believe, 45 minutes. So we want to save time for question and answer at the end. Jacob will be taking some notes, fielding some questions as they come in, and then we'll be asking them at the end of the webinar. So considering that, we're going to move pretty quickly to cover all 3 of these, try and do about 10 minutes apiece. And the first one we're going to talk about is Inspection Sync. So the 3 new features are Inspection Sync, which helps you automate your data entry from your inspection app into Ecotrope. The third is Scenario Modeling, which allows you to quickly evaluate builders' requests for how do I pass any building code that's in energy code that's in Ecotrope, or what is the impact of this new building product or installation package or what have you. And the third is QA Track, and that is helps QA providers complete all their QA tasks in Ecotrope. That way they don't have to have multiple screens open, and it's a streamlined QA process. We'll try and cover kind of why we built each one of these tools, what it does and what it solves, and then how to get started. And at the end, we'll do some question and answer. So we're going to start with Inspection Sync. The reason why we wanted to build Inspection Sync is that we know that lots of HERS raters may look like Jim Carrey like this at the end of the day. You've gone and done all of your inspections out in the field, and at the end of the day, you have to go back to the office or go back to your home office and furiously type in all of your inspection data into Ecotrope. And that takes a lot of time. You may even have a dedicated staff person that's doing this for your entire team. And it's a time suck. It means you can't send your reports to your clients as quickly as they would like to have them, perhaps holding up their CO or holding up their energy code documentation. And it's also kind of time that's not as productive as you would like. If you weren't doing this, maybe you could be doing more business development. You could be providing different services to your builders at the same time. And this re-entering data has the opportunity for errors. If you go to hit the 4 and you hit the 5 instead, you don't check it, that could be a potential QA error that you have to fix later on down the road. And then you have to figure out where did that error happen so you can try and eliminate in the future. So once all of those kind of things are going on, once we have Inspection Sync up and running, we've seen rating companies save between 5 to 20 minutes of data entry time per energy model. And that's just quite a bit of time savings when you start thinking about how many times you update data in your energy model. And it also allows you to update all of the energy models you inspected at once. So updating one energy model takes the same amount of time as updating 100. And that's where the scale really starts to take effect. Again, also help reduce the number of potential fat finger mistakes. So you aren't having to catch those data entry errors. There's only one place that you could have a data entry error, and that's in the actual data collection process, and there's not multiple data transfers that are occurring that could also introduce errors. There's only one place, so you know where the error could come from. You can go diagnose it really quickly. It also eliminates that data entry backlog for your staff, so you can go and send reports to your builders ASAP. So kind of what is Inspection Sync? It is not the inspection app, and it's not Ecotrope, it's the connection between the two. So it allows you to use whatever inspection app you are already using and send that directly to Ecotrope via the Inspection Sync data format. So it's that connective fiber between the inspection app and Ecotrope. So let me show you how it works really quick. I'm going to show you a couple different things here. Let's move that over. And in Ecotrope, I have a template energy model. And a template energy model is an energy model that I built during plan review that I'm going to use multiple times because this production builder is going to build this home multiple times in one subdivision. And I've built the energy model at the front end to make sure that their baseline spec passes the energy code that they need to pass. And that way I can copy this and put in the exact blower door and any other changes that I do during my field inspection into that address specific or lot specific address energy model. I have this Ecotrope account connected to a Google Sheet, which I'm using to be my scheduler tool. This helps me keep track of all of my template energy models and all of the addresses that I am inspecting and contracted to inspect throughout, coming up. So what I have here is all of the inspections that are scheduled for, in the future. In the past, I have one that's scheduled for today, and I did a little bit of coding on the back end to pull data from Ecotrope in Google Sheets and then send it to my project inspection app. And let me pull up my inspection app as well on the screen here. Oop, got the Red Sox score there as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dispatch this final inspection form, and it's going to dispatch this data from Ecotrope and send it to my my inspection app, which is up on the phone, up on the screen here. And you'll see it's downloading right now, and now I have 3 of them. This inspection app is pre-filled with data from Ecotrope now. You can see that it's the same address, 1 Marina Park Drive, and it has kind of your standard inspection format here. I'm going to just kind of go through here quickly to show you what this looks like. I have the slab information here, so I can inspect the slab. This app can take photos. It can record all the minimum rated features. I've set it up though, so when I submit this inspection, it's going to send an inspection sync data file to my Dropbox account. That way I can upload it to Ecotrope at the end of the day. And the way we see people using this is they may have multiple field inspectors out completing inspections and all sending this data back to a central location. That way one person can put those into Ecotrope one at a time, or all together, all at once. So I'm gonna go ahead and send this. And my phone has a little bit of a slow connection here right now, but it's has been sent. That way I can go to Ecotrope. And once I'm here in Ecotrope, I can do a batch action. And oops, I actually need to change users real quick. Sorry about that. I can do a batch action and upload this inspection sync JSON file. I just have to go and find it. You can see that the new one has been sent to my Dropbox, and I could open this and it's going to be uploaded into Ecotrope, and it will update all of the data fields that my field inspector just recorded. It was successful. And now when I go into Ecotrope here, I have 2 house plans. I have the original one and one with inspection data. So if you go into this, you'll start to see all the changes that were made using Inspection Sync. You can see that this new basement slab entry was edited. This frame floor was changed. You can see that it's changed because it says generated by Inspection Sync. That means my field rater recorded that what was originally in the energy model for that frame floor is slightly different than what they saw. They recorded that difference and they sent it to Ecotrope, and Ecotrope created this new library component that is only in this energy model. So it's isolated to this energy model and put in that new data that the field rater inspected and documented. So it's a seamless process. It's straight from inspection app into Ecotrope, and you don't have to do any of the data entry yourself. So that's Inspection Sync. Really quick. We also have opportunities to do this implementation with low-code software tools. So it's easy to start and easy to implement yourself. The few things that you need to kind of pay attention to is what kind of inspection tool you have and what you're trying to accomplish with it. Is it a checklist? Is it data collection? Is it a photo tool or something else? And making sure that that tool itself can have the ability to dispatch inspections to it. Dispatch means sending data into that form and pre-filling it. That's really key. But if you're interested in that, we can help you out, figure out which tools are best for you, and also point you to those low-code tools to make all of the connections. I'm actually doing a RESNET session here coming up where I show how to do the entire implementation with low-code tools. And you can do the implementation in 15, 20 minutes. If you're, get it all connected. It may take some extra time to map all of the data, but it's pretty easy to do pretty quickly. So kind of the impact of this is we see 5 to 15, 20 minutes of data entry savings per energy model. You can eliminate that bottleneck of data entry and fewer sources of error. And if you want to get started, let us know. We can help you figure out which tools to use, whether or not your existing tool will work, and get you started on this kind of seamless automated data flow so you can deliver your ratings just in time. All right, so on to scenario modeling. Scenario modeling is a cool tool that allows you to evaluate all of your energy models at once to understand the impact of a design change. So the ways that we see this happening is your builder may come to you and say, hey, I heard about this new product. I heard about this new way to build a wall or new insulation product, and I want to know if I should start using this product or change my wall assembly. Tell me whether or not I'll still pass 45L. Tell me if I'll still pass energy code if I do these things. And generally that takes a lot of time because you have to go and find their worst performing energy model and make that change and say, well, on the worst performing model, it's still okay, but we're unsure how the impact is on other models, but this is the worst one, so it should be okay. With scenario modeling, you can say for sure what that impact is for that one change on all of their energy models, because scenario modeling will actually test every single energy model if you made that specific change. The other use cases are the builder may have certain energy codes, new energy codes, or new 45L requirements that they want to pass, and they need to determine how best to do that given their typical building spec. So you can take scenario modeling, look at all of their old buildings from the last 6 months or so and say, let's try these 5, 10, 15 different things and see if that gets it past the finish line for that new 45L requirement. And you can say, go to your builder and say, here, we tested these design changes on all of your homes, and those design changes caused 100% of your homes to pass 45L. These caused 80%, and they can make that decision of which route they want to go based on their own kind of cost benefit analysis. But it gives you the ability to provide that really fine-grained, precise data on the impact. We also see you could potentially be doing this as a value-add analysis as well to help find improvements to your builder's portfolio when you onboard them, or as kind of an ongoing service you provide as your builders, you deepen that relationship with them. We've heard that builders ask for this sometimes, and when they do, it's really time consuming because you're doing all the iterations or changes by hand. They're hard to keep track of. They're complicated because you have to make sure you undo the changes, and sometimes those are hard to remember. You have to record all this information in a spreadsheet, copy it, and put it into a spreadsheet to do the analysis. So that's why we built a scenario model. Let me show you a little bit of how it works. So far, we've analyzed about 1,000 different combinations with scenario modeling. And this is a mock-up that we have of scenario modeling that we had our graphic designer make for us. And let me show you kind of how it works. You start out in Ecotrope and you select the energy models that you want to analyze. For this one, I filtered by the builder and VR, and I selected 4 or 5 energy models. And the next thing is I'll start scenario modeling. And in the scenario modeling user interface, you'll have to pick which design changes you want to test. So this is, for example, you want to say, how do I get my builder to pass 45L? And you say, well, I think if they did, R15 plus 5 insulation, continuous insulation, that will get them a little bit closer. And if I also tell them to do R33 foam roof deck, that'll get them a little bit closer. So let's start modeling these different improvements to their homes to see what the impact is. And so you start to build this kind of recipe, these ingredients to put into your recipe of how to get them to pass 45L or whatever energy code they're trying to pass. Once you have those ingredients or design changes, you need to assemble them into a scenario or a recipe. And you can build multiple scenarios, and each scenario can have all of the ingredients included, or just one ingredient, or any combination of ingredients that you want. You just have to tell Ecotrope how you want those assembled. The final step of scenario modeling is to tell Ecotrope how you want it analyzed. Do you want to know the impact of the HERS index or compliance with Energy Star? Maybe it's the 45L tax credit compliance. Most of the reports that are in Ecotrope are supported, so you can really dive into what's really important for your builder. And we're always adding new reports as well as we kind of continue to improve the tool. Once you've defined that, you've defined the energy models that you want to analyze. You've listed the design changes that you want to test, and you've grouped them into scenarios. In this case, you have the first scenario, all 3 design changes, and then the next 3 scenarios are just one design change at a time to see what the individual impact is. And you also said we want to analyze the HERS index, DOE zero energy ready homes, and see how many homes pass that. What will happen now is Ecotrope will assemble each one of these scenarios and apply that scenario to all the energy models and send you a report that tells you exactly the impact of each of those scenarios on those energy models. So here's an example report that has a few more design changes included. And you can see that the first scenario, there's a whole bunch of design changes selected. And you can see that the average HERS index was 53.2. And the average change in HERS index was -7. So it really drove down the HERS index. Or if you look on the right-hand side, originally the average HERS index was 60.2. And importantly, it also tells us that 383 additional energy models passed 45L. And that 383 was out of a total, actually the total's not on here, but it tells you how many more that you would pass if you did these things. So this is something that can be pretty persuasive to take to a builder and say, look, we tried all of these scenarios. This scenario right now would earn you, $720,000 extra dollars if you built your homes to this spec. And the builder may say, well, a lot of these things cost a lot of money, so maybe I don't actually want to do that one. Maybe I want to do something else, but you're still providing value to that builder by showing them what all the options are for them to increase their 45L tax credit compliance and what it would take to get there for all of those energy models. Here's another example of a report, very similar. All right, so how to get started. So we're actively rolling this out right now. We are building the user interface as we speak. And so we're allowing people to sign up for it and kind of get on a wait list. So as soon as it's released, you'll have access to it. And we're thinking about this in two different ways. From what we've heard from some early folks that have been involved is there's two ways to use it. One is solo scenario modeling, where you analyze one energy model at a time. And the other is batch or bulk energy model, solo scenario modeling, where you analyze up to 1,000 energy models or multiple energy models. And we have kind of two different price points for that, depending on how you want to get started. And for the solo scenario modeling, you sign up for that. You can use it as much as you want. Everybody has access to it. You just get it and start running with it. For batch scenario modeling, we're talking about more of a per project fee. So per project being an analysis project, that is a bunch of energy models analyzed and a bunch of design changes analyzed. So if you want to get started, talk to us. We can get you set up and get you rolling here as soon as it's released. Also, if you want to sign up for solo scenario modeling, let us know. And if you kind of tell us you're on this webinar, we can also throw in one batch scenario modeling project. We see solo scenario modeling as kind of leading into the batch one because it's allows you to practice and learn about it and then try it out on a big project as well. So again, reach out to us if you have any questions. And so far we've already done 1 million different combinations in scenario modeling. All right, so QA track is again another new feature. This is targeted primarily at QADs and QA providers. Some of the why we want to develop this was we know the building registry can be slow and a little cumbersome at times. So it takes a lot of time to upload data to there to get the data out that you need. So we thought, can we put that in Ecotrope so it's easier for you to see everything right in Ecotrope? And we also know that this is something that's really critical to you to make sure you get right, because it's the QA report impacts all operations of your HERS rating company. As a QAD myself, I know that being able to quickly see on a dashboard that all of my QA is up to date and I'm in good standing was really important to me. And this kind of serves that purpose. You can mark which energy models got QA'd. Ecotrope will select energy models for you to QA. So you don't have to spend any energy verifying how many ratings somebody has done and going and picking an energy model to QA. Ecotrope will just do all of that. So really all you have to do is go into Ecotrope, look at a dashboard to see that you're up to date and see which energy models have been selected for QA, and just do your QA work. It makes it so you don't have to worry about the administrative balancing all of the QA quotas and QA totals. You just go and get your QA work done and move on with your day. So let me show you really quick what this looks like in Ecotrope right now. I'm going to switch back to the provider account. So you'll see here, I have this filtered. We have a filter in here where it's QA types. And I can say, show me all the HERS file QA that has been completed in my account. And here it shows up one with a little status here that says magnifying glass mean that this energy model was selected for QA. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And when I open up the energy model, you'll see I have a new panel over here in the app, and it has basic information about QA. For the most part, this is the information that RESNET needs to see so you can show them that you're compliant with their QA totals. And you can leave the date that you completed the QA. You can say who completed it. This will be a list of all of your QADs in your account. And also you can track the status of where this QA is. Is it marked for QA? Is it in progress? Does it need a revision for the rater to go make a correction? And then did it pass or fail? And you can also leave any corrective actions here as well. But really the cool thing about this here is that you'll have a QA checklist too. So RESNET requires that this checklist is filled out for all file and field QA. And it's in app here. So instead of having to have an extra spreadsheet open, filling out the spreadsheet, it's just right here. So as you go through and review all of the entry points for this energy model, you can mark all of these as satisfactory and what the result was. And if you say something's unsatisfactory, it'll automatically say, oh, this failed because it's a required thing to pass. And your score will be calculated up here in real time as well. So it really makes QA super easy to stay up to date with. So one other thing that we're adding to QA Track is to auto select energy models for QA. And what that means is it's not live yet. It'll be live in 5 or 6 days, maybe 2 weeks from now. There'll be a button where you can select energy models for QA, and Ecotrope will go and find how much QA every single rater needs in your account and go randomly select energy models and mark them as needing QA. That way you can go and do the QA yourself. When it does that, it'll also send you a report that looks kind of like this to show you that here's how many energy model each person did. Here's the file QA that they need done. This is how many are selected, and this is how many are complete. That way you can, see that in a spreadsheet that you're up to date, and you just need to do the QA that's been selected in Ecotrope. This dashboard will be added to the app shortly after that selection process is completed as well. So you'll be able to see your entire QA dashboard for file and field QA in app, and it should be good to go. It'll count the ratings based on RFIs as well as HERS raters. So you're distributing that QA requirements appropriately. So again, the QA checklist will be in app. And if you want to get started, let us know. The QA dashboard and QA checklists are being rolled out right now, and pricing is based on QA provider size. So if you want to learn more about it, contact us for more information, and we can get you going. I'm super excited about the QA features because as a former QAD, I see a ton of opportunity for automating some QA checks, as well with RESNET's performance QA standard. They mentioned things in there that you'll need to qualify for performance QA that I believe this could help a lot with. And once we start tracking QA in Ecotrope, there's a whole lot of opportunity there with AHRI documentation, sharing file documentation amongst raters, communicating to raters back and forth to say, hey, correct this before we upload it to building registry. All of that stuff is possible once we start using Ecotrope for QA. So I'm excited for it. I hope people are interested as well, and we can roll this out and continue to improve the industry. So again, that's all three features. Inspection Sync automates the data entry from your field inspection app into Ecotrope. Scenario modeling allows you to quickly evaluate your builder's requests, and QA track allows you to complete your QA tasks in app. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions that people might have. And if you don't have a question now, feel free to email us and reach out to us if any of these things you think may help make you more efficient or make you more productive. And even if you don't think it won't, but maybe there's a tweak to it that would really make you excited for it, let us know. We're always trying to improve and willing to work with you as we continue to innovate and build these new features. So with that, I'll ask Jacob to take the reins and see if there's any questions to be answered.
For starters, in Inspection Sync, are there any known inspection apps out there, any known tools that kind of play nicely with Inspection Sync today?
Yes, there are. So there's a couple of industry-built tools that are implementing Inspection Sync right now. One being Energy Smack and the other being Dash. They're both working on implementing it. And I think if you want to learn more, contact them. If you're looking for something that's not built by our industry, there's a host of tools that work well. Things that I've seen people use are Go Canvas, Fast Field Forms, and Pronto Forms. And I think all of those work well. They have positives and negatives. All of them do. They're not all positive, but they're definitely really good tools out there that work well with Inspection Sync, and those three are on top of the list.
Awesome, thank you. And now another one, more of a clarifying question. When we were looking at Inspection Sync, we saw that you had your spreadsheet that you kind of used to track everything. You had Pronto Forms, then there was the JSON file. Could you just maybe walk through, which are things that are expected already parts of your workflow and which are things that are Ecotrope is providing or are providing as solutions to add onto that workflow, kind of delineate, what is the Ecotrope product of Inspection Sync and what is something you might already have?
Good question. Yes. The workflow, as Jacob said, is generally you build your energy model in Ecotrope, and then you have a second tool that is a project management or scheduling tool. And that tool is could be a spreadsheet, or it could be a specific app that you use. That's probably going to be critical to have set up ahead of time. But I say probably. There's ways to work around that. So don't make that be a blocking problem. If you don't have it, let us know. We can talk. Then the other part is the inspection app itself. And I use Pronto Forms, but like I said, there's a few others out there as well. And that's something that, again, is critical. You'll need to have some sort of inspection tool. And then the piece that is Inspection Sync is the kind of the infrastructure, the pipeline that takes data from your inspection app and sends it to Ecotrope via that Inspection Sync pipeline. And that's specifically kind of the feature that we're talking about, but it makes the link that allows you to have a connected, seamless workflow between all three of those tools.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on there, and I know, David, you're always available to help anybody either talk through how this might work with their company, or if somebody's ready to kind of go forward, kind of see what you have, your current system processes are, and work with you to figure out what might, best fit for you. So thanks, David.
Yep.
I'm going to switch gears now to scenario modeling. So that was really cool. I think you said we've already done 1 million scenarios, and I believe you're being literal, correct? Like literally over 1 million scenarios have been already modeled and analyzed. So it wasn't a hyperbole.
No, that's a real number. And that's a million combinations of saying, what if you changed this specific thing in an energy model? So like, what if we changed the mechanical system in all of so-and-so's homes? And yeah, a million. That's it's a cool number.
Yeah, that's wild because this is a newer feature. It's still only in a limited release as people ask for it. So I'm excited to see what happens when it's in full release. So an obvious question, I guess, and you touched upon this a little bit, but could you share some real examples of why people are doing scenario modeling today? As some of those million examples, is it code changes? Is it supply chain builders worried having to adapt? Or can you share a few of those?
Yeah, so one of the primary reasons so far has been IECC 2021. We know that there's multiple states that are updating their energy code and updating it to IECC 2021. And that means a HERS rater needs to help their builder determine how they're going to comply with that new energy code. And to do that, some folks have taken their entire builder's portfolio from the past 6 months. And that's, could be upwards of a few thousand energy models, and then said, okay, we have a good understanding of where that builder stands today. And let's try improving their slab insulation, their above grade wall insulation, and start throwing all of these different design changes at those few thousand energy models, and to see which ones improve those energy models the most, and in what combinations do they get the most energy models past the threshold of complying with IECC 2021. And in some cases, it's been super valuable to them because they start to see, does the builder start to see that, oh, IECC 2021 is really tough. Should I do performance prescriptive or ERI? And they're able to use scenario modeling to keep the builder doing performance code rather than doing prescriptive code, which is really valuable to the rating company. And the builder was also pleased with being able to maintain some of those important trade-offs to them.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I could definitely see value in that. We're gonna have a bunch of new code cycles coming up. I know a lot of states are adopting amended codes. If I have to ask or be asked for one more Texas code, I will. I might scream, but it feels like there's always something going on down there. Michigan had a few updates too, so yeah, definitely. That's really cool. And then I'll switch gears. Go ahead.
You also mentioned, supply chain issues, and that's been a fairly popular use here. Is builders will be like, hey, I can't physically find radiant barriers, or there's this insulation product is stuck on a boat in the Suez Canal or something, and I can no longer get access to it. So they need to figure out ways to build without it on short notice, but still, get their CO and get their comply with energy code. And scenario modeling helps figure out ways to navigate around those, blockages.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a big one, and one we're seeing recognized at astonishing levels. Some states have actually taken action to kind of override their state amended codes to allow for some of these supply chain issues, which I've personally never seen as widespread as this. But then again, look at where we are. So I'll switch gears here on the interest of time, get to QA track. Question was, obviously this will be available to the QADs and those who need it, but how will we control who has access to the checklist and who can see it? Will every single rater be able to see the checklist, or will they be able to edit it, view only, or what's the kind of permission structure look like around that?
Yeah, right now, only users who are QA users in the app are able to see the checklist. I see in the future that raters and RFIs may be able to see it read only. That's not a part of the product right now, but I definitely see that in the pipeline. So you won't have to worry about somebody who shouldn't make changes, making changes, because we can control that by the user type.
Got it. Thank you. We're running a little low on time here, so I'm going to ask you one final question. Again, staying with QA track. I know you mentioned, or actually we saw that you can see a dashboard of who has X number of files done this year, who needs QA, who you've completed QA for. Could you just recap briefly what additional type of reporting, if any, either is in the feature or will be in the feature shortly?
Yeah. So that dashboard tells you what file and field QA burden, I call it, every rater, every user has. And when there's a QA selection made, that information will be emailed in a report to the QAs and the organization. The other parts, we will support downloading data out of the app if you need to send it up to the building registry to show QA compliance. And I also anticipate we'll have export ability so you can do analysis to help support some of the performance QA components. And we want to help support doing any of the QA tasks that you need to do. So that's something we can talk about as the need arises. And we're always looking to continue to improve the feature. So if there are other use cases that come up down the road, we're more than happy to discuss those and help support those.
Awesome, thanks. Just to kind of clarify and reiterate, all three of these features are available today in some capacity for anybody who would like to explore or venture forward with them, correct?
For QA track and inspection sync, yes. Scenario modeling is also a yes, but the user interface is going to be released in the next month or two. And so until that happens, you'll be able to do bulk scenario modeling as kind of on an as needed basis for large projects in the interim.
Awesome, thank you. All right, well, I want to kind of wrap things up here. I think you covered the bulk majority of the big ones, and a few other smaller questions. We'll be sure to reach out to you all to kind of get those squared away. But in the interim, if you think of any questions later date, or just want to reach out and talk to us, as David mentioned, you could reach out to us at David's email address, david@ecotrope.com, or you can reach us at sales or info@ecotrope.com. So David, thanks for taking time to show us all these options.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, have a good one, everybody. Take care.